YouTuber, or more specifically a booktuber, or just kind of more general advice, making content. This is my 3 years experience making content advice video, because I've seen some people in my comment section saying they want to start their own channels. I know I have a few booktubers who are a little bit smaller than me making content, and I want to pass on whatever wisdom I can at this point to those people, because I see a lot of questions that I myself had when I was first starting out, and I'd love to be able to save some people from making the same mistakes that I made back when I was 20, just starting doing this. And it might seem a little corny. I'm not even at 10,000 subs. What right do I have to say anything? And you're totally right to say that. I'm not a super successful YouTuber by any means, but I do have some experience. My quality has vastly improved since I started, and I want to just go ahead and give out some advice from right now to whoever wants to get involved in the BookTube community or just being a YouTuber as a whole. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about money, because I wish someone had told me this when I first started out, and it's absolutely true. Do not go spend a bunch of your money on really expensive equipment. I've seen people do it, and I did it myself, and I feel dumb. I bought, because I was convinced sound quality was 100% the most important, best thing. So I've bought 3 microphones throughout my BookTube career. Each one, well, the first one was like 40 to 50 bucks. It was a snowball microphone. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen them all over the place. The second one was one of those Yetis, the blue Yeti. You've seen me in all my recent videos. I got that from a friend who gave it to me for like 70 bucks, even though that mic is worth way more than that. He was very nice to sell me to me for that value. His name's Daniel, thank you, Daniel. Both of those were a waste of money. What I needed and what I will ever need on YouTube is this lapel mic, because no booktuber needs a $200 to $300 microphone. We are not singing, we are not doing crazy audio stuff. We are talking about books. Unless you are trying to be some alternative booktuber, which if you are, more power to you. But in terms of booktuber or any YouTuber who just plans to talk to the camera, my opinion is keep it simple, because this thing has been a godsend since I started using it. Way more easy to mess with the audio. It's much more basic. There's no knobs, there's no adjusting for the room sound. Put it there, you plug it in, you go, you get good quality. It's a Purple Panda, get it. If you want to get started on BookTube or YouTube or whatever, get this or an equivalent mic. It's doing a great job, as good as I on average did with that Yeti. Occasionally I'd get it like super nice because I'd just adjust everything perfect and it would sound crystal, but that was rare. I would often screw up the inputs. I'd stand too close, I'd stand too far. This can follow me, I can move around, I can have more energy, I can do things. It's wonderful. In terms of cameras, use what you have until you're making enough from YouTube to pay for a new camera. Do not use your own money right away to buy an expensive high-end camera. I waited a long time for my Patreon and YouTube to build up enough to buy this EOS Rebel SL2. It's great, it does all the capturing it needs to, but honestly, iPhones are good enough, or whatever smartphone you have is good enough from now. What's much more important than picture quality is lighting and sound. So first investment, in my opinion, is a microphone, then just use natural light or whatever lights you have on hand until you can afford to buy some newer lights, and then save until you can use your YouTube money to buy an actual decent HD camera. You do not need 4K. I had to talk myself out of that one. No one needs to see this in 4K unless you're trying to do some high-end Philip DeFranco stuff. It's just not necessary. Stick with whatever you got. Even now, my stuff's not perfect. This is too warm of light. Cooler light would be better, but I only have 1 cool light, 4 warm lights. What that means is like white versus red. So I just stick with the warm because it would look awful, as I learned in one of my videos, to have 1 cool light and a bunch of warm lights. It doesn't work. So just use what you got. Balance it out the best you can, go from there. I'm tired of seeing people spend like, oh, I have 100 subs, I'm gonna spend $1,000 on a setup. Do not do that. Build your base first, let YouTube eventually pay for your upgrades, because the way I measure it is your success on YouTube is equivalent to how much you should be willing to spend on YouTube, because this is not your job. Unless someone with way more subs than me is watching this video, YouTube is not your job. And that's my second point. What does it take to be a YouTuber? Why do I do it? I get asked that frequently from comments and stuff and messages on Twitter and Instagram. And I don't mean to sound all douchey like, oh, what does it take? It doesn't take much. It takes you not treating it like a job, because if you treat this like a job, it's gonna drain you. You're gonna dread making videos. H3H3, a video I'm not that big a fan of and I don't watch much, but they just put out a video saying how depressed they are and out of video ideas they are. And that's because I think it became their full-time job. And once you feel a pressure to put out these videos, it kills all enjoyment. And I know what you're thinking, Daniel, you put out daily videos. How do you not feel pressure? Well, if you look at the incline or the increase of video output over time for me, that's why. I started it like once a month, maybe twice a month. And it just steadily increased because I got better at what I was doing. I didn't worry too much about the frequency. What I cared about was quality. So if it took me a month to think of a good video, shoot it, and edit it the best I could at the time, that's what I would do. And I never felt pressure to do more than that. That is so important, super duper important, because if you just feel, oh, I have to stick to this schedule, it's gonna drive me nuts if I don't, it'll burn you out real fast. I'm sure a lot of my subscribers remember about a month or two ago I said this is my schedule, and I tried to stick for that, and it lasted for like a week because I very quickly started hating what I was doing here, and it would have destroyed my channel if I stuck to it. And now I'm just back to posting what feels right, because this is not my job. This is a hobby that I love and I happen to make a small amount of money through. There is a lot of people who they make a little bit of money from YouTube and they think, I've made it, I'm good, it'll keep increasing forever. If you bet on that, your ass will be broke, because YouTube is fickle. I look at my analytics all the time, and there are months where I've gained a crazy amount. There was a day where I got 500 subscribers. Nuts. And then it went back down to like 20 to 30 subscribers a day. Now I'm averaging about 40. And if I started hedging my bets that it's gonna be 40 forever, I'd probably be disappointed, because that's how YouTube works. You're in an algorithm, it is fairly random, unless you really blow up, and I'm talking 200,000 to 300,000 subs, this will not be your full-time job. Even at 200,000 to 300,000 subs, guys, you're not making baller money. You're making livable money, unless you really are smart about how you're diversifying your income. So this brings me back to my original point here of output. How should you treat output on your channel? Quality. I did not get to the point where I could put out a video a day until I felt I was competent enough to put out a video a day. And even now, my quality suffers occasionally and I have technical errors. I like how I actually just stuttered on technical. That was not intentional, but that was good timing, body. It's really important for you to not set yourself up for failure on YouTube, because if you have an expectation that I'll be at 10,000 subs by the end of the year and you don't reach it, it's gonna crush you. I kept thinking I'm gonna be at 10,000 by the end of this month, not looking like it's gonna happen. And I'm honestly disappointed, but that's on me. That's dumb me for treating YouTube like it's this predictable, oh, I gained this much last month, so I'm gonna gain this much this month. Nope, this month can go down, then it go back up, then it go back down. It's how it works. And another thing about content and what you're gonna be putting out is probably gonna make some people who are watching a little mad at me saying this. Do not let your audience dictate what you put out ever. So I'm constantly getting asked, review this, review that, read this, read that, summarize this, summarize that, compare these two characters, compare these two nations. And if I did all of that, I would get no enjoyment out of this anymore. And that's what this is. This is a hobby I enjoy. So if suddenly I was taking requests left and right, no more enjoyment, quality decreases, my energy decreases, channel declines, everyone unsubscribes, Black Plague, it's bad. So what I do is I take recommendations, I add them to lists. If I ever don't have ideas or I need to fall back to something, people's suggestions get high priority and I'll go to them. Even if I do have ideas, sometimes if someone suggests something that sounds great, I'll do it. But certainly not every request gets considered. A lot of them just, nope, not gonna do that, because either one, I don't know enough and I'd be lying to you to say I did. Like some people have been requesting I do a Game of Thrones talk. I've never read the series all the way through. So if I did a Game of Thrones talk, it would be me talking out of my ass a lot, and I'm not going to do that. Sorry about the text. I also just do not have the same level of passion for Game of Thrones that I have for these other series that I'm talking about. So guess what? It's not gonna be talked about. I really like Game of Thrones, but I don't love it on the level I do Wheel of Time or Cosmere, so I'm not gonna talk about it like those guys. So I guess what it comes down to, know your limits, get better before you increase output, and make what you wanna make, because this is a platform for you to create on. You, not your audience, you to create on. Do what you want to do. Don't spend a ton of money you don't have on equipment you do not need yet. Just make a presence, put things out there, self-promote like crazy. A lot of you would not be here if I wasn't for that. Everyone online talks crap about self-promotion, but I bet a bunch of you would not be here if I did not post my things to Reddit or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, because that's how marketing online works. Get your in front of people. That's how you get noticed. I've clickbaited up my thumbnails a little bit, enough so I can still respect them, but they are definitely clickbaity in some ways. And overall, I think I've found a good balance that reflects me as a reviewer. Now, what I am saying reflects my approach to YouTube. This is how I come at it. I'm sure there's other booktubers who do very different approaches, who just don't care about the certain things I care about. What drives me a lot of the time is competition. I'm hyper competitive. So if I see I'm creeping up on another booktuber's like sub count, because I'm shallow and competitive internally, I'm like, let's pass them. Because it's how, I don't know, I judge my own success. I've been that way my whole life. That is a legitimate thing I care about. Maybe I shouldn't, but I do. Maybe that's your drive. Maybe your drive is to make money. I think that'll lead you a little less success. Or maybe your drive is just to create content. And honestly, that's one of my biggest drives here. I love making stuff for you guys. I love getting feedback. I love the debates. I love the criticism and praise. All wonderful, and it's all makes it worth it. I'm also hyper competitive. That is also a factor. I like competing with other booktubers a little bit. I will never ever do something petty like bring it up to people's faces. That is disgusting and shallow and dumb. It's purely an internal, I want to do good enough so that I pass this person. It's shallow, but it's true. Same mentality towards the gym. Actually, that actually makes me think of another point. Never sacrifice your time for YouTube to the point where other aspects of your life start suffering. Like if I do not have time to do both gym and YouTube in a day, gym wins out every time. I know there's 9.2 some thousand of you all waiting on me to make a video, but I'm sorry. What's important to me is maintaining physical health. So gym wins out. That's where I'll go to. Trust me, I'd rather make a video than humiliate myself in the gym like I rather do, but it's important to me to have that hierarchy of this is where I'm gonna be at. Also, don't hold yourself to the standard I put myself at right now of a daily video, because one, I do it because I get immense satisfaction from creating this stuff, and you might not get that same level. And so if you try to put out daily videos, you could burn yourself out really fast. I have a weird work ethic that my dad built into me, and if I'm not working, I'm going crazy. And so YouTube is a way for me to help that kind of crazy anxiety go away a little bit. So there's also that benefit. So don't compare yourself to others. I guess that's the bigger message of what I've been saying recently. Be competitive internally. Compare yourself to yourself. Be better than you were last week. That's gonna be how you become a great YouTube/booktube/content creator. That's the ranty ramble lessons of YouTube from Daniel. I can't really think of anything else. So if this was interesting at all for you guys, hit that like button. If you hated all of it and it totally just hurt how you view me as a person, hit the dislike button. Subscribe if you want to and you enjoy my face. Hit the Patreon if you want to see this channel continue to improve. And I don't know, I just feel like I needed to make this video because I've learned a lot and I don't want to see people make the same mistakes I made and set themselves up for failure, because I did similar things and I almost quit multiple times because of it, and it was hard to keep going every now and then, but now I'm at a point where I feel like I'll be doing this for a long time and I'll be loving it every second. Anyway guys, have a good one. Peace.